Hello, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I have a pile of popcorn here to celebrate, and everyone's poking fun of me.
Christmas meal. Coffee and popcorn.
Who
needs ham?
Yeah. Ham. That's a thing. It's good to see you all. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be a part of Christmas Day. Like, that's
We
an
are
honor for
honored
us.
to be a part of your Christmas. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from that perspective, it's very special for us to be here. Thank you. Our hope and our goal today in our time together is, first of all, to show up. Secondly, is to emphasize and celebrate that today is the beginning of Christmas. That in Christmas Day, it ushers in a Christmas experience that does not end anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Like in the introduction podcast, like weeks ago, like kind of shared just how maybe like we're forced into this too soon or too early or whatever. But like, I am really excited to have the opportunity to get to wrap my mind and my heart around Christmas on my own terms. Because I feel like everything leading up to this, like maybe we've been asked to do things or forced to do things or the opportunity has been taken away from us. But now, because this is the beginning of Christmas, it's just started and we get the opportunity to like fully step into this. So if you feel like you haven't gotten the chance to do that yet, it's okay. You haven't missed it because this is the beginning.
I tend to be like someone, if something happens and I have to think about it, I'll say I have to sleep on it. Okay, like it's that like, I don't know, I need to sleep on it. And I process in my dreams. But I think there's something about the idea of the Christmas season that is, I'm going to go to bed in Christmas tonight and I will get up tomorrow, the sun will come up and it is still Christmas.
Yep.
That says there's something more holistic about that heart posturing, that there is time.
Yeah.
So in this idea of the birth of Jesus and celebrating, I would say, the heart of God for us. Tell me some of the things that are embodied in that for you.
Yeah, definitely. So for me, when I think about that question, I think about the last 4 weeks that we just walked through with Advent, right? So this anticipation of peace and of hope and of love and of joy, Christmas, this is when I don't have to anticipate anymore. Like now I actually get to step into it and I get to experience that because that is God's heart for me. And I don't know about you guys, like, today, December 25th, Christmas Day, right, the beginning of Christmas, that is a time where I need to remind myself of that reality the most. Because often, like if I'm just being honest, my day does not feel very peaceful or joyful. I mean, there are moments of it, but it feels honestly a lot more chaotic. And so when I think about God's heart and what I'm being invited into, it's like, man, to experience peace today and hope and joy and love.
I think for me, it's very much it's kind of the, but wait, there's more moment. And
Billy Mays here.
Explain that. Explain
what
do you mean?
Because I think, when we were talking about like Christmas Day, when it comes to an end, there's this moment of like, oh, it's over, for some people are like, sweet, it's over. But I love the idea of the Advent themes crossing over into now this Christmas piece, and so it is this, Christmas is a good thing. It is a good thing, but wait, there's more.
Right. I'm excited to begin different traditions that begin today. That isn't just like, I'm going to perceive these days differently. I'm hoping to build them. So like
the practice.
Yeah,
right?
like they actually hold something. And so something I'm thinking about, like, I'm gonna start crying already. It's something I've been thinking about on Christmas Day is can I, as a father, prepare a Christmas blessing that I pray over each child, and that it embodies this idea idea of the birth of Christ, the birth of hope, the birth of peace, the birth of love, the birth of joy, and that they experience it all throughout the year. I don't know. I am excited to do things different and to build practice.
I really view, like, I don't know if I do on one level, but I think like bigger than like God's heart for me on Christmas, I think the way I think about things zooms out to the bigger picture of things of like the original Christmas, that was the day that every day after that, everything became different.
That's good.
Like Jesus like talks about the kingdom as like it starts as this mustard seed. It's like this incredibly small thing that over time grows and becomes enormous. Christmas is the day that the mustard seed like got planted for me, where it was just this cataclysmic, just like there's no words to describe how transformational of a thing began on Christmas, but so few people knew about it. Like, I don't know, anything like at least less than 50, probably less than 20, would you think? I don't know. Like it wasn't like
wasn't on the news.
Yeah,
there were no Hallmark cards back
exactly.
then.
It's not like the whole world, like all of a sudden, it's like, it's Christmas. It's like, no, it's like this small group of people. And like from that day forward, everything is different.
Yeah, and just going back to that point, like King Herod, by the time that the Persian kings came, somewhere down the road, and King Herod has spies, the eyes and ears everywhere. He had no idea that ever happened. He just didn't know.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And so if he didn't know, who knew?
Yeah. And just the whole concept of God with us. Like I did a sermon like a few months ago where like part of it, I was trying to like capture the size of the universe and like how small we are in comparison. And it's just like so like incredibly small. And I think I spent most of the time just like talking about that contrast. But what I've been thinking about since then is just the reality of like, I don't know. I think when we think about like Jesus coming to earth as a person, like we often miss just how huge of a shift that was from him to going from holding everything to being this infinitely like minuscule speck. But for me, it's not just like the shift of like power and size, but it's the proximity of coming down to that level of proximity. Like you went from holding everything to getting born into the context of these little tiny specks that you love.
Of humans.
To the point that they can sing songs that say, "He's with us."
Yes.
Because before that, they couldn't, right?
Right.
But like the identity of Jesus is he is right here. I think like, man, I tend to pick things apart and like I want to experience them. And I've been doing that as far as celebrating people's birthdays. How do you celebrate birthdays and like that kind of like, and I finally hit this heart thing of like, oh, I think I'm starting to tap into something of, so I had a friend that, hadn't been super celebrated on her birthday. And I began thinking about everything that she's done and who she is and then the impact and then all the people impacted, and it brought me to this place of like, I am so glad you were born. The earth is different because of your birth, and I want to celebrate I don't want to just say today is your day because it isn't. It's not her day.
Right.
But
the sun just did a lap.
But the thing I want to do is say, I see you and everything you are, and the birth of you caused everything to be different. Okay, so that's just a friend of mine. Today, we are talking about Jesus, who is the fullness of God and the heartbeat and character of God, of being different from all the preconceived constructs of who God is, that he saw us and he pursued us, and he said, I'm tired of being here. I'm going there. I'm going to become a human being, and I'm going to change everything for all time. I don't think I've ever on Christmas Day said a prayer to Jesus and said, I am so glad you were born. I tend to celebrate Christmas as if he isn't here. It's like, and he's like, hey guys, we're here.
It's
Who
my
I
day.
am is Emmanuel, God with us.
Yeah.
But the whole day is happening around him, talking about him.
Yeah.
But we're not telling him or experiencing him.
Well, the way that you described being moved to tears when you thought about your friend, right, and the impact, and like I've got to imagine that shifted the way that you celebrated her,
Right.
And I wonder, right, and maybe this is a practice we all engage in, and you engage in with us, is what would happen if we did that today,
Right.
where it's like, hey, I'm set aside a couple minutes, and I'm just going to think about this, and I'm going to reflect on this. Like, Jesus, you came. Like, what does it mean that you lived as a man, that you became Emmanuel, God with us, moved into the neighborhood? Like, maybe we get to a place where we actually start seeing this day for what it is.
Yeah.
I think there's something like I have to like force my brain not to go too far, like to Easter, and like try to wrap my mind around like the entirety of everything that he accomplished. But I think there's something really beautiful on Christmas about just focusing on the fact that he's with us. Like there's something powerful about just showing up. Like if someone's in the emergency room, just showing up, like you're not the doctor, you're not fixing anything. Like you're just sitting beside the bed. Like there's something really beautiful about like the moment of Christmas. I mean, he's a baby, so there's nothing else that he can do. Like he just showed up, which narrows the focus on the fact of like, God felt such compassion for the state of things and the state that we were in. The first thing he did was just show up. And for a time, that's all he did. He was just here beside the bed in the emergency room. And then other stuff happened after that. But just like, just God with us, that's a lot in and of itself.
Isn't that the primal desire of our heart?
Yes.
Is for God just to be here.
Yes.
And I think like there's something silly. I think oftentimes I'm confused by like how these like Easter and Christmas and how people will say he's risen. And it's like I know he has been. Like my entire. I was born in a season of the resurrection.
Yep.
I know.
Yep. The sun just did another lap.
So,
Yeah.
so why is Easter different? It's different because I forgot. I forgot that he conquered death, because how I experience my daily lives, it's proof I forgot. So why is Christmas different? I forget that he's here. I forget he's by my side. I forget that he's the pursuer of us and that he ushered in the kingdom so that things can be different. My daily experience, it's in this forgetting phase that the kingdom and the participation in the gospel is actually here. And Christmas says it's okay to forget, but you can't forget because he is here.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place
That's a
to just
great
rest.
place to end.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
Christmas. Like
Yeah.
we've experienced a lot today. And I think that's like, we could spend a lifetime just like sitting on that.
Yeah.
All right. So in this space, be blessed. Ugh.
Do your Christmas blessing on that.
No, like just be blessed. Tell him that you are glad he was born and that he is here. And thank you for tuning in.